Earth and Spirit Medicine, Ancient Healing Wisdom Podcast number 5. Alan made me a mug. Look at that, and I'm drinking some coffee out of it right now. And I can smell that earth in it. And the last couple of things he's made for me have lasted. So I hope this lasts longer than some of my regular coffee mugs that I super glue. It's beautiful. I'm very thankful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coyote, Thunder, Hawk. What a nice gift. Okay. So, yeah, we're in my backyard and taking a little pause on doing some podcasts, and we're just going to get started into discussions here. It seems that most of us have this personal world. When I say world, it's like our experiences, if you can imagine, like we're our own planet. And so everything that we experience is really not what others are experiencing. Even though we might be sharing an experience together, their perceptions based upon who they are, their past experiences, etc., could be and most likely will be different than yours. And so as I think about this being in my own world, so my world, okay, so oh gosh, I'm gonna get sarcastic a little. So, oh gosh, times are so hard. Oh my gosh, it's been so hard. Oh, I can't take it anymore. And so let's say that that's my world. So what would have to be going on in order for me to perceive things, whatever it might be, to feel as if there's not a solution? So the only way I know to get a solution is to be fact-based. And I kind of need to do that for myself right now. So think about all these people that you associate with every day. Home, work, wherever. They're all in their own personal world. So when we pass by, it's one association saying hi to another, but it's under some perceived, we're having the same experience, like I mentioned a minute ago, kind of unspoken way. And yet, what's been going on behind the scenes between the last time we saw each other at work, like over the weekend, a lot of things can happen. We might not know that someone's loved one has passed away, for example. And we might notice that they seem a little different. And they're in their world thinking of things. So usually the way that we identify with another person's feelings is how we see them. How do they look? How are they acting? What are they saying? It's almost obvious that things are bothering most of us. Some of us have this game face that we call it, where we can kind of put on this illusion or this persona, or maybe it's actually a strength of, hey, I'm going to smile through this, or I'm not going to let you know that I'm fasting, for example. So maybe someone goes to fast for 4 days and 4 nights or something, and they might tell everybody that, and then they might tell them how hard it is through it. They might even nowadays film that and tell you through every day, oh, I'm really hungry, but I'm not going to eat, and or whatever it might be. And so here we are, each of us in our own worlds, not knowing the exactness of another's world, passing by each other in the same world, this earth experience. And yes, it is a similar, relatable experience. I mean, we're both here in where are we?
At your house, Spanish Fork.
And are we in the front or the back?
Backyard now.
Okay, so we're on the same track so far. We are. I thought the same thing. We're at my house. We're in my backyard. So we're on the same page. Our worlds are matching as to the environment, the experience, what's going on, our conversation beforehand, etc. Kind of leading us to a knowing of why we're here, where we're at, and what we're doing, kind of a thing. So imagine that now each day you go about your business, that you're able to have a viewpoint now, a shift in how you look at other people due to this information. So that two things. One, as you observe others, let there be no judgment. Let there just be an observation. Just see how others observe, almost like as if you're invisible. And just take mental notes. But as you're doing it, think like this and think, oh, I've been that guy, or I've been that gal, or I've done that. So that we're not almost seemingly thinking that it's a bad thing they're doing. So as I'm getting older and my driving record is clean for a long time and I drive slower, follow the speed limits, when I see maybe someone young, teenager like I was, maneuvering their vehicle in a way like I did too, and one might say, oh, you stupid kid, and maybe somebody said that about me in another car, but I was that kid. There's so many people and experiences that I see every day, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've been there. Oh my gosh, I've seen that. I've witnessed that. But not to say when someone's having a hard time, oh, I know exactly what you're going through, because we don't. And that's the key. We don't know the insides of their world like that. So we want to get to know, so we can have relatable conversations. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry about the death of your loved one. Is there anything that I can do to help? Something like that. Maybe later it might be, as conversation goes, if you have chance, then maybe it's like, well, I remember when my grandmother died. It's not maybe the same, but I remember feeling this way, or something like that. Then we have that relatable exchange of one world to another about a situation that the other person is experiencing right now that might take some sort of ease, or it might just say, oh, I'm not alone in this, without them feeling like, no, you don't know what I'm going through, when someone says, I know exactly what you're going through, man, because I know when people have said that, they might mean well, and we're trying to do that relating, but if we step back and take a look at how we're dialoguing, when we're dialoguing, we have to watch the energy. We have to watch that other person. We have to see their body language. We have to see where they're at in their talking or their exchange, or if they're open. And that's the same with us. So this whole thing about our worlds and interacting with each other each day kind of comes to this thing about understanding our sacred space. Some people call it boundaries, but then it seems like we're trying to protect and put a fence up. But it's kind of similar. But if we look at it like a sacred space, and we have this sacred space, and we don't want someone, let's use the term bully, we don't want someone to bully, if you will, their way into our sacred space. So you ever had anybody or anything bully their way into your sacred space?
Well, you know, it's funny to think about that, because I think really in the physical realm, even going through when I was in school, and I never really did. I was very blessed that way. But on a spiritual essence, yes, when you kind of step into that other realm of that spiritual activity, of demonic activity, then yes, very much. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, just never knew it. So I would probably say yes, but in different terms of what other people may look at it as.
And with that example, and briefly there, this invasion to your, could I call it an invasion?
Yeah.
This invasion to your sacred space, and I would say, could I call it assaultive? Like it was an assault upon you, a physical leaving marks from a demonic entity, basically beating the hell out of you.
Yeah. And it was to my knowledge, was the one night that I stood up to it and said no.
And that was the point I wanted to get to next is, how do we protect our sacred space from anyone or anything? How do we learn to gauge ourselves and work through it? When is it time to just abruptly stand and look something in the eye? So, you stood up to that. You made a gesture that was more than, it was as equal and more than enough to get you to take certain steps and then learn, perhaps over a little bit of time, how to not just keep that from happening, but to live your life in a way that almost prevents it from ever happening, even though we're engaged in energy every day.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. That was a lot. I hope that worked out on the understanding there. Okay, so our worlds are our sacred space. I'm a sacred space walking around. You're a sacred space walking around. And you bump into me and I don't know you and you spill coffee out of my mug. Is it, oh, dang it, hey, sorry about that, like from me to you, or, oh my gosh, and then maybe make a friend, okay? Or is it, oh my gosh, you stupid A, or whatever. And you've had a couple of those. There was even a police officer that came in a certain way in your complete place of innocence, and some almost possessed. Yes, okay. So what I'm saying here is that every single second of our lives, our mind is thinking. That is like a foundation of our experience in our own world. We still see out and see other people's worlds, but then we can only perceive their world, observe it from the state of mind, the state of being that we are currently in. So if I'm in a down and out victimized state and I see someone having a good time, I might, depending upon my personality and who I am, be very happy for them and want to get to that again. Or I might be very envious and jealous of that. But either way, we don't want to look out there and think that other people have something we don't. Okay? We all have sacred space. It's just a given. We don't learn how to govern ourselves within that sacred space, maybe ever. And so, like probably a very high percentile on this planet of people learning how to regulate their sacred space, their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, using their thoughts, words, feelings, and actions, and relating to other worlds with cooperation, honor, respect, and trust, sharing the same resources of water, shelter, fire, food. And having some sort of singular outlook with that, and then some sort of family outlook with that, and some sort of communal outlook with that. And so when something happens in your family, when something happens to someone close to you that is shocking, and I guess I'm kind of giving the answer, you know, because I was kind of going to say, what does that feel like when something happens in a negative way to someone you love? But it is. It's just, usually it's just shocking. But we're left with a debris, if you will, of thoughts. This part about the thoughts is very, very important. This is where we write our script. If you can think about like the petroglyphs on the, kind of like this, you know, well, these are more like the pictographs, but you know, you get the petroglyphs and they're etched in that stone. Sometimes we think about something so much and we hate somebody so long that we etch it right into our being, you know. So what you want to etch into your being are power statements. See, you want to get into that I am. So anytime anything's not the way you want it to be in your sacred space, and so lately for me, and thank goodness that I am doing this podcast today, because I really have been striving to be present-minded right here, right now, through situations that have been going on in my personal space with other people I love and care about in their worlds. And I have been doing my best to, and as I mentioned a minute ago, when we don't think there's a solution available, we have to get back to the facts. And I haven't been doing that. And as I said that, I thought, oh, Winfield, you need to state your facts. So when I was asking Alan where we are initially, you know, that's kind of like, hey, the fact is we're right here. We're doing podcast number 5. Fact is that earth and spirit medicine, this ancient healing wisdom, you know, it's something that we're all searching for. It's a way of living. It's a way to sustain a way of living and being on a consistent level each and every day. We don't want to just sustain ourselves physically. We want to have a mental state of being, a way that we view our life, so that if these unforeseen and unpredictable things happen, when we're in our optimal, we're not taken so far by it that it keeps us on a lower vibration of being and robs us from experiencing other beautiful things that are still there. And so when I can still walk outside and I have my garden, and I've been being able to work out in my yard more this year than I did last year. And so the fact is, fact-based, solution-oriented, that I'm actually doing better than I was thinking earlier today. And my solutions are very simple, and it's me reciting these power statements. So it's pretty easy for me to sit here and say, wow, I'm really, really, really grateful. I am, language of I am. I'm so thankful for my family, okay? And then I'm going to get more specific. I'm so thankful for each of them. I'm so thankful for Ashley, my wife. I'm so thankful for Siri and Lance. And I'm so thankful for Lakota and Kelsey and Nixon and Maverick and Sage and Hunter and Soren and Madeline and Journey. This is my inclusive. This is my tribe. That's my immediates, okay? And then there's all those extended out, you know, former spouse and all of hers. And then there's, you know, my extended siblings. And so it goes out. But the energy level, okay, the energy level of one person can influence the energy level of the rest. It's almost like sometimes if somebody gets sick and then somebody else does and somebody else does. But what we want to do is strive to do this. And so here goes this language of I am. And I'm just going to say some things because I've been doing this a long time, and I hope I do it in a good way that's a good example. But I think I kind of need it myself right now too. So I was saying how grateful I am for each and every one of my family members. And I'm just really thankful that they're alive. I'm really thankful that I'm alive. I'm really thankful that I can use my shoulder, my hip. I'm really thankful that I have this body that I can still be active with, that I can come out and enjoy time with my grandchildren and working in my garden. I'm so thankful for the sounds of nature. If we just quiet up, we can probably hear some even with the traffic. So the birds, usually I hear a lot of birds around here right now. You can hear like a weed eater and some other things. But these are the sounds of my environment. And so I want to be thankful for that. I'm very thankful for where I live. I'm very thankful for the property upon which this home sits. I'm very thankful for how God led me to this home. I'm very thankful for all the very blessings and miracles, because I didn't know that I was going to experience so many things here. I've been so led in my life. I've had so many miracles and blessings. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of experiences and stories that are my very own in solo ways, but are also very inclusive to all those that I love. And I'm grateful that I'm desirous and searching to share information from my life in a way that does not victimize where I've been, but illustrates principles, methods, techniques, strategies. So this ancient healing wisdom, this earth and spirit medicine that we're searching for, the sustainability, but not just the sustainability. We want to be able to have that longevity of a mindset. The mindset that says there's more than enough. The mindset that doesn't have disease as a forefront thought. The mindset that has the forefront thought of creativity, of stewardship, of oneness, of cooperating with other people. And so I could go on about all these wonderful things, but when it's a simple little thing, when I'm sitting out here and I see a hummingbird come and land on the hummingbird feeder, it reminds me of times when I've been out in the wilderness. And one particular time when I was in Cowboy Cave in Calf Creek area here in Utah. I had a group out for 21 days on this trip, and my daughter had just been born. She was only about 6 months old, and I was getting water early in the morning, and this hummingbird came right in front of my face, and I knew it was her, like her spirit, her essence. So she's always been this hummingbird, you know, and so that's how I can gather my joy. That's how I can go back and retrieve the good petroglyphs that I left in my mind, and why I etch those over and over and over and over. I will recite all the good things. There are so many each day. Though it's weird how we will choose something that seems to upset us and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, rather than something that uplifts us and repeat that, repeat that, repeat that. It is easier to talk down on others than it is to uplift them. But when you get in these habits, one way or the other, it's not really about ease. It's just about a way of being, a way of living. So when I think about ancient healing wisdom, and I think about reading books like even the Tao Te Ching or whatever, you know, trying to find wisdom from other people that lived, they were kind of just trying to share their experiences too. And when we start putting our complete trust and faith in what they said as truth, rather than going inside and asking our truth detector if their truth was right, then we can have the permission to dialogue more truth for the upcoming generations. So don't get caught up in thinking that the wisdom keepers are gone, the people that lived with the earth or anything like that. We're still here. We're just going to shift the way that things happen first internally, and then mix it with your family, with your home, with the way that you live. I don't know what kind of rambling here about it, but what do you think about that? We had a conversation earlier and even a few weeks ago about it's interesting that it's been close to 10 years that I've known you now that you've known me. Yeah, because I'm just kind of curious, I can talk about so many stories about what earth and spirit medicine is to me, and what this ancient healing wisdom is to me, and what I've gathered, and then how I put together my own, the personal medicine wheel journal, the survival essentials, puppet versus master, however you want to look at it, just trying to script something tangible and accurate that gave me something of good medicine, if you will. Mm-hmm. So take it from there.
Yeah, my journey yet so far with earth and spirit medicine, it's kind of going through childhood and all that, nothing ever really made any sense to me. Like growing up, it was always kind of that great mystery of like, I kind of got introduced to photography, and it kind of gave me a sense of purpose, but the purpose was really getting more outdoors than I already was, and kind of wanting to go out and see new things, experience new things. But it was still like this, okay, what are you kind of doing, and then work has always just been work. It's never been this like career path kind of a thing. And so when I got introduced to like this, I'll call it like a true earth, and then being introduced to spirit, and then the medicine that I received from it, it was kind of like, thanks to my grandpa too, I like all in, like, no, you're all in, like, you already know this. And so it made sense, it makes sense to me now looking back. And in essence, like, we talked this morning, and kind of like it was a busy mind, I'd probably more say, like, excited to get things done, but then the right here, right now, right? You're like, okay, your heart's so like you're a million miles an hour ready to go, but your mind is kind of reminding you, hey, you're right here, right now, so let's just calm things down. But I went driving up Payson Canyon just to, be outdoors again, and I got to the top, but they still had the road closed. But there's a beautiful viewpoint, and I just sat on a rock. I think I did a quick little video and then put it away. But it was that reminder, kind of like your perfect example is sitting back here and then just listening to the wilderness. To me, it's like that perfect example of earth and spirit medicine. It really is that simple, but yet there's a lot of work that you had to put a lot of skin in the game in order to really continue to grow this spiritual activity within you. It's not like, come to speaking stick or come to this, and then all of a sudden you got all your wishes, it doesn't work that way. And that's what I've had to come to realize too with this coming to 10-year marker is, it's really just the beginning. And the first time I read Self-Mastery, it's just as crucial and important as if I were to read it right now. It has that same importance to me. It's like reading it for the first time every single time, because it reminds me, oh, I did get influence at work, or I did get influence at the grocery store. Why that person cut me off, and coming to that, when you're talking about putting on a mask or something, it reminded me of the movie The Mask, with Jim Carrey, some sad guy would just put on a mask and then be this everything he wanted to kind of thing. But yeah, the journey with earth and spirit medicine, it's every day it feels like it's just the beginning, really, because it's every single day there's like a new obstacle to overcome, but it's through the daily practicings. And that's the thing that reminds me all the time, is that what I practice the most is like, well, hey, stop, think, observe, and plan. But it happens like in a nanosecond. Before, it would take me like, I don't know how long, but it was at least, okay, stop, and then I would have to talk to you and be like, well, remember, and then I would have to remember. But now it seems like it's more kind of like in the moment.
So you've etched it in like a petroglyph.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also introduced me, clay making and fire making and all these other things too that come along with it, I would say, is just absolutely incredible and beautiful, and something that, now I get more excited about, I was excited when Journey was like, yeah, I want to know about making, I was like, okay, I got it. And I bring out all the clay and all that, so there's an excitement of also teaching these things too. And I'm excited to see other people get that excited as well. So
I think all of that is perfectly said. And I think that it illustrates that there's a timeline going on. Right here, right now, yes, but right here, right now, 10 years ago, right here, right now, 20 years ago, right now, right here, right now, 30 years ago. Or if you're younger and you're fast forwarding, I know people that are actually worse off now than they were 2 decades ago. I know people that absolutely refuse to make changes in their life. I know people that have sent all their kids to rehab, and yet they're the one that needs it. They're the ones that need it the most. I know people that have, and this was so bizarre to me. I'll state one more thing about that, sending your kids off to rehab when parents need it the most, was when I was first doing the wilderness therapy youth groups back in 1989. I was just astounded by the lack of relationship that parents had with their children. And so over all these years, seeing that gap still there, still seeing gaps in people's own ability to understand who they are, feel like they have hope in a day. So all of this about being in our own world, sharing a world, becoming the best version of me allows me to be able to be there for others and not feel so taxed. I might get tired when it calls upon me a lot. I might get real tired. But to not let it be something like, oh, gee, even though it feels like that, like I can't do this anymore. I don't think anything's felt like that for a long time. I can't do this anymore. It's just like, oh, gee, okay, all right, I can't wait till the night. I'll sleep through it, whatever kind of a thing. It's more broken down. But what I know is that when you can begin to take these little incremental steps and have a different perspective illustrated to you through these podcasts, that hopefully piercingly and tenderly get you to do something different in your life, because you're the only one that can. You're the only reason. You're the only person. Who do you do all these things for? Your mom?
I do it for me.
Yeah. You can't do it for anybody else, and nobody else can do it for us. So get busily engaged now. Think the very opposite of the negative thoughts that you're having, and then put an action to it. That's all. Start there. So your world is sacred. It's important to learn how to keep it well inside and understand that other people are in that same position. That kind of keeps judgment out of the way. It's important to understand that we're working in it together. We live in this environment. We share the resources. We might have different viewpoints. Some people might believe in God, some might not. Some might hate veggies, and some might like beef. Some, I don't know. Everybody's kind of different. But if we can just mostly be okay with that, if they're not taking away from the sacred space of themselves or others, which in a way says don't bring harm upon you or others. Don't be rude to yourself or mean, or be rude or mean to others. So be nice to yourself and then be nice to others like that. And we just want to bring more kindness, more thoughtfulness that says, hey, I can do this. I can be a better version. I can do it every moment, all day long. And just because things happen where I shortchange myself and possibly others, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the day. It's just another opportunity to say, wow, I really do mean what I say, and I'm going to stay with it. So when I'm in the wilderness and I'm running low on firewood, I go get more. And I try to get enough that I don't want to get to where it looks like I'm running out. And if I can get to a system where I'm maintaining it, and it only takes me a few minutes a day, and I never run out, that's the way. Anything else?
That's good.
Hope you comment on all this. Hope you share these things. Thanks.